This is the Amp Hour Podcast. Released July 10th, 2022. Episode 595. Trade show or conference?
Welcome to the Amp Hour. I'm Dave Jones from the EEV blog.
And I'm Chris Gamble of Contextual Electronics.
Back from parts unknown.
Conferences.
Conferences, plural. I didn't know you went to plural.
Yeah. I went to plural. Yeah, I was in San Francisco first. That was at the beginning of July, and then Embedded World was the third week of July. And as it so happens, my luggage is still in Germany. So
Nice.
yeah. That's fun. Apparently, it is flying home today. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
There you go.
But yeah, I did bring home a souvenir, an unwanted souvenir, which was COVID.
Yes. Well,
I was not the only one. That
was bound to happen. Was it packed there, or was it like?
It was pretty. Yeah, it was pretty packed.
So you think you got it from just the proximity thing?
That many. I think it's just law of large numbers
just
sort of
that
thing.
Many people breathing on you to find out what thread is or whatever the thing you're working on.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, we were at the Zephyr booth, so we were, talking to people about Zephyr of different sorts and Goliath, the company I work for, and stuff like that. So, and yeah, I mean, but it's just it's just a big thing. I will say it is. I think the best conference I've been to. It is the most targeted conference for my interests around electronics that I've been to. Is it a
conference or a trade show?
It's both. Yeah,
right,
it is both.
Okay.
I didn't go to any of the conference parts. The trade show is what I was at.
Best conference ever, but I didn't go to any of the conference.
Yeah, sorry,
parts.
I don't delineate. I think conference and trade show are the same thing, but that is a good point.
Right.
It is one of the only trade shows remaining that I think is a good fit for people in our field. At least US wise, there aren't many things like this anymore. It used to be Embedded System Conference, and now it's like, that's it's still around, but it's effectively dead. And
US wise, we'll try coming to Australia and finding one.
Well, nobody's ever really thought that that you guys had
any sort of industry. Yeah.
It's. I mean, no offense.
None taken.
Yeah, I mean, and I've been to Electronica, which is also in Germany. That's in Munich, and that's coming up in November, and that's good, probably even bigger, but kind of more commercially focused, I feel like, or more, it's closer to like a CES. This is like,
you mean more consumer focused?
Yeah, more consumer. Yeah, more consumer focused, and definitely like more suits. So like if like Embedded World had fewer suits and more
engineers.
Polos.
Okay,
yeah,
so
more engineers.
So it had more engineers on the stand than salespeople. Is that what you're saying? All right.
That's right. Yep. Okay. Yep. Yeah. Whereas at Electronica, it's like, it's
all sales.
There's a lot of meeting rooms if you're not like scheduling meetings with salespeople and that sort of thing.
So it's businesses meeting businesses. It's not engineer meeting engineer meeting.
Yeah, I mean, there's still engineers there, and there still are things that you can go and see, and there's a lot of stuff there, and it's a good one. I mean, I would probably put that second, honestly, at these days. Like, there's just nothing left in the U.S. that I find equivalent to these things. So
really?
Germany's got it. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, but you have DesignCon. Is that still on? Is that still a thing?
DesignCon's still on. That's really focused on high-speed PCB design, right?
Oh, really? So, jeez, it wasn't when I went.
Yeah, that's how I see it, at least. I mean, maybe this could be my perception, so don't base everything on me. But in terms of like, one of my friends went to DesignCon this past year, and he's like, it's all connector companies, and like selling connectors and high-speed interconnect and stuff like that. So that also kind of leads me towards that conclusion. In terms of like, if you want to just go and like learn about the latest ST chips or something like that, they're just, I don't know what those conferences are in the US. And so if people know, I'd love to hear.
Yeah.
But I don't personally know what they are. And so, I have to go overseas for it, apparently.
Well, there you go. Well, I did. Having said that, I did run into Howard Johnson at DesignCon once, the high-speed digital design, Blackmagic.
Former guest.
Yes. So, I did run into him once. That was a long, long time ago. So yeah.
And I think it has evolved, honestly, as well. Like, so like Embedded System Conference in the US used to be similarly large, and it had a big trade show floor. It had good conference tracks, stuff like that. It's just dwindled, and so a lot of the conference companies in the US aren't what they used to be, because it's a tough business. It's a really tough business.
So. Yeah, because for those who don't know, like, these things don't just magically happen. It's not like a whole bunch of companies just decide to turn up to a hall at the same time. There's an event conference company behind this, and Australia, they're an events company that run it here, but they happen to run the engineering one, but they run other events as well. And it's like, you need somebody at the back end to organize the entire show. There's no industry, it's not run by the industry body, is it? Like, it's not run by the IEEE or something. It's like
the IEEE does have conferences, usually run by external companies. But those are like academic conferences.
They're
usually.
academic, small academic, talks and things. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. So in terms of like trade shows, obviously, we're coming out of COVID. There's been a huge reduction in that, anyways. But even 2018, 2019, I don't remember hearing about many other shows like this. Again, my perception. So so like with the Australia thing, like having a trade show in Australia, there would be a huge trade show if there was a big audience, right? It's this huge.
Of course. Thing, if you,
and it's just about like, and so when you're building a conference, you have to like, first you have to basically bluster your way into it. So I've tried this a little bit with KaiCon. Obviously that's micros compared to any of these other things we're talking about here. But you have to basically be like, well, there's going to be 500 people here, and they're conference, and the people that are hosting, and or rather sponsoring, they're like, okay, well, we think 500 people are worth this much, we'll sponsor this much. And so it's like this push pull, though, because they want to be able to have access to 500 people, but they would much rather be at a conference where there's 100,000 people, So
exactly.
Like,
I can do what all the other failed YouTubers are doing and have a DaveCon. If you haven't heard, there's a whole bunch of YouTubers, famous YouTubers have tried to do their own conference, and they've failed epically. Yes, TannerCon was one of them.
Are you not? Do you try and fight other YouTubers when you're there? Do you do boxing matches?
Have a boxing ring and that's the in thing, isn't it? So Yep. So I can have Dave.
Would there be Dave CAD at DaveCon?
Yes, of course there would. Yes, you could buy.
Yeah, of course.
Yep. You could buy Dave CAD and try it out. And
right. Dave, the Dave CAD tutorial sessions would be.
Yes, that's it.
The Dave CAD paraphernalia you could take home. Take home your Dave CAD.
Pad and exactly.
Specialized pen,
Yep.
Oh man.
Like, I have thought about it, not DaveCon, but like trying to organize like an industry event, but it's just like, it's too hard. Like, you've got to have
cross position.
It's a shit show. Yeah.
I mean, and that's the thing. And it's like, it's a really big, I remember when, O'Reilly used to do SolidCon, and I talked to one of the organizers, John Bruner, who I got to know through it. And like, I remember him telling me about it. He's like, look, if you estimate wrong, and especially the scale that they were doing,
screwed.
Yeah, like it's millions of dollars. It's not like you're not
and,
like
and
out,
it isn't,
like,
but that it isn't just the money side of things. It's also the event itself. It just turns into a farce, right? And it just turns into an embarrassing farce because nobody turned up at the last minute, or the the people who set up the stands didn't turn up at the last minute if you didn't, Like,
I think the money piece is pretty scary to me, though. Like,
right? Oh yeah, no, definitely.
You've got to like, it's like literally you're like a conference or a concert promoter at that point. You got to like lay out a ton of money beforehand, and then hope you recoup it, and maybe you don't. Like, it's like, oh wow, okay, that's like, there's some big implications there. So kudos to the ones who do it. It's not a business I would want to be in. It's tough. It is tough.
Yep.
So
Like, I've got people I could call that for advice on that sort of stuff, but
you're talking to them.
Yeah, right.
I'm a successful conference organizer.
Australia specific.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, about venues and all the legalese that's required here and stuff like that.
True.
That's why that's why you get things like the hacker camps and stuff like that, because it's like, just turn up kind of thing. Basically, all you got to.
No way,
well,
man.
no, but it is going to be easier than trying to organize like a huge hotel and
it's different if people are bringing their weenies and marshmallows to roast over an open fire versus
right.
getting catering for 500 to 1,000 people. That's a different thing.
Exactly.
Logistics quickly become a nightmare. So well, if you do it, let me know. I'll try and get down there.
Yeah, nah, I've got better things to do. No, yep. Nah, it's not going to happen. If it is, like, if I ever do anything, like, it's going to be like small scale kind of thing,
Yeah.
It's going to be like it's going to be a souped up version of one of the meetups, it's going to be like sort of just have a jazzier, you would have to invest the money and go, right, I'm going to hire a jazzier venue that has X facilities or something like that. And you'd have to, So you'd have to be willing to A, lose money, and B, be humiliated that nobody's going to turn up, So it's totally. Like, oh boy. Anyway, I'm not beyond humiliation though. I'm not below that, so that's fine. Yep.
Okay. Cool. Well, I am looking forward to other events. Hopefully, I'm always on the lookout for other events. So if people hear about other conferences, US, otherwise, I'd love to hear about them. I will be at All Things Open in November, which is actually local to me. So that's in Raleigh,
right.
Which is
you can walk
20
there,
minute drive away.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a train. Actually, there is a train, and I might take the train. So two stops on the train away. So I can do that.
Cool.
And that's in November. And love to hear about other ones. And there's another Embedded World. Embedded World was supposed to be in March this past year. It normally is. It was instead pushed to June. The next one is in March, and I will maybe be at that as well. So might be back for a second round of COVID in
nice.
Nuremberg. Yeah,
just to pick up the new strain. Woo!
Yeah. Got to catch them all.
Yeah, you can. And I believe if you get 5, you get like a medal with like, 5
there's like a redemption
medal.
card.
Yeah.
Right. Now, I mean, I shouldn't make too many jokes. I was very lucky. I had a very late time of things. So Yep. So
isn't there a Internet of Things specific conference somewhere? I'm sure there is or was.
There are, and there are many actually that are, but they're pretty tiny.
Right,
yeah, they're pretty tiny.
But still, there are specific ones, right? Which is surely you guys would go, oh, that's our target market.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
You don't know?
When you go to design a new thing, well, here's the thing. Okay, so like if from a commercial standpoint, if you were going to design a new thing, I don't know, like so like me from 3 years ago, like pre-COVID, right? Doing consulting. Pre-COVID, have the ability to go somewhere. If I'm going to when am I going to go to an IoT conference? If I need to go design an IoT thing, I'm not sure I am. So it's really about like where are people going? That's all that really matters at the end of the day. Is like where can I go talk to people that are building systems like thread-based things that I'm interested in talking about. So have not that continues to be a challenge, I think.
Right.
Did you? I mean, you went to conferences back in the day, right? Were you doing that to find out about new things?
No, it was just to, hang out. Really?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I wasn't going. I'm going to learn so much. It's like, no. There are specific ones. There was power supply design.
Yeah, sure.
One I went to, which was very interesting. That was a paid thing. That was like it's almost like a course conferencey thing. It was kind of
not the TI Unitrode power.
No, it was the Analog Devices. That was Walt Jung did that one.
Yeah.
One of the 2 Walters anyway. There's 2 Walters, famous Walters there. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that was very interesting. That was like a 3-day, power supply conference or something. So that was enjoyable.
Yeah, and that's basically like an academic course at that point, right? That's like
almost, yeah. It was kind of like a weird mix kind of thing because they'd have like companies there with little booths as well, I think, and like with tables, not big, but it wasn't big booths, but there was like stuff that you could,
try things out, talk through things, grab flyers. I don't know, like I just think like I still haven't found a good replication of this online. Like obviously I can go and do research online. You do research online. Sometimes it's just like the only thing that's available there. But there is a nice, there is the browsing experience that I miss that trade shows have. There's definitely no online equivalent of it. There's no like VR.
Why is there not like a DigiKey Mouse at Element 14 show where all they do is like spread out all their components across a hall? Yeah. That's all they do, right?
You could probably skip the resistor hall.
Skip the resistor. Yeah, there's a big flock, there's a big line up outside the resistor hall, for the resistor aficionados. But wouldn't that be awesome? I would go to that. I would go to that just to see bloody components and like boxes and like I just like, because that's the way you did design back in the day. You before the internet, kiddies, right? You would flick through your Element 14, your DigiKey catalog or whatever, and you'd actually see the physical items, because they'd have photos for everything, so you'd be able to see it. Oh, that case is perfect. Oh, what does this widget do? Oh yeah, I need one of those. Oh, look at that knob. Whoa, that's like, So
I'm totally down. Like that experience is. Yep. I was doing that at the trade show. I was looking at there was a case manufacturer who was there, and like you just get to go and browse it and dream, right? Browse and dream. That's all I want to do.
Well, that's some of my favorite things at the trade shows is like they have the glass. It's better if you can, actually play with them. But then if you've got little small items, then they just end up getting thrown everywhere or nicked or something, right? But, they'd have the big glass display thing, and it's got like just hundreds of components all laid out in there, and you can physically see the different connectors. You just stand there for 10. Vendor. Yeah, exactly. The button vendor, the switch vendor, the screen vendor, they have different shapes and sizes of LCDs, and just looking at them all, the keypad vendors, so you can like go in and press the different types of keypads, and you can, it's just
more of that.
Great. Yep.
Yeah. It is never coming to VR. I don't care how many people say that's going to be, even if it does, who cares? It's stupid. Yeah. It's not.
Stupid. No, I would refuse to participate on principle in a virtual event.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. No. So meat space it is for me. Despite illness.
Yeah. How many people have we got still turning up to do engineers still hate the virtual conference thing? What are they called? What's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know.
The online presentation thing, where somebody gives a presentation
webinars?
Online. Webinars. That's the bloody wank word I was looking for. Webinars. Do engineers still hate webinars? Yep. Hands up.
I've turned the corner on that one, unfortunately.
Because you give webinars. You give them.
Yeah,
but you give them, but you can't take them.
That's right. Right. Well, and like that's the thing. I sign up for them, and then I don't show up because it's like, why do? This is just a YouTube video, so just like send me the link afterwards. But you got to sign up to get the link.
Yep.
So that's what I'm usually doing.
Sagan did a webinar. Well, it wasn't called a webinar, but it was an online cosmology course. He's doing an online cosmology course with Professor Alan Duffy, and cool. He's liking that. So that's over.
How deep does that get?
I don't know yet. The first one was the maths was over his head.
Okay.
In the first one,
I mean, like, is it like you're looking at photos of like star clusters, or is it like you're actually deep diving into like?
Oh no, you're not. No. It's a more It's a more broad overview kind of thing. Okay. So it's not deep. Yeah. So if you're, if you're a cosmology aficionado, you read a lot on it and stuff, you might not get a lot out of it because it's covered stuff you already know. But if you don't know much about cosmology, then it's probably going to have some deep concepts that
Got it. Okay, so it's like a 101 course, but a college level 101 versus a middle school 101.
It's a college introduction kind of. Yeah.
So that's cool. That's a cool thing to do together.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's tough doing online education in general. I think. Everybody comes at it from different things, and I don't know. Just like I said, meat space still wins out for me.
Yep. But every time I see a webinar and advertised, and I do get a lot of companies email me, oh, we've got this electronics webinar coming up. Can you promote it to your audience and stuff? And I tell them, like, I actually go to the effort to reply and go, look, engineers don't like webinars. Don't bother. You know, like, oh. And there are some people who have replied that went, we know, that's why we're contacting you to try and drum up more interest.
Man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I've been tasked to do this, you know. So don't blame me, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it looks like. Like I think engineers want to learn, right? But but I prefer that 3-day course, like you mentioned, versus
the format just doesn't. The format just doesn't work for some. Like they'll watch YouTube videos from their favorite YouTuber, but they won't watch just a webinar, like just a corporate webinar.
Well, webinars are usually pretty boring too. You know, like that's also part of the perception is like, you know, it's like 45 minutes of like slide deck and someone talking over top of it.
It is
like Sleepy Town,
complete death by PowerPoint. You know, it's like
right.
Yep.
So that is the downside.
I'm sure if I started doing my videos as like if I had a whiteboard that like
a digital whiteboard
actually projected slides, a digital whiteboard that actually projected slides, and here's me presenting in front. It'd like instantly just everyone would fall asleep and not watch it, even if it was my same stuff. I think it's just the format. I think people are engineers are hardwired to hate that sort of format. It's Dilbert kind of. Yep.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yep.
Yep. All right. Well, what do we got on the list this week? Because it's been a few weeks. So
yeah, it has been a couple weeks. What was going to be on here? Oh, the actually because we were talking. Did I not? Oh yeah, there it is. They're trying to do AI for circuit board design again. So there's yet another company.
Yet another. It's been going for those who don't know, it's been going for 30, 40 years, AI. Ever since the first auto routing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, AI.
Algorithms and stuff. Companies have been, this one's got artificial intelligence in quote marks, and it's wow, it'll really rip out your traces,
Yeah. I mean, so this talks about like component shortages and like being able to automatically like replace stuff. And it's just like, I get it. I'm sure it's a little helpful. I'm sure that, and there is a lot of, I think we talked about this last time. We talked about a new company raising money for a web-based layout tool or whatever. It's just like, it might be co-design, but it's not all design. And this is not even this is really talking about like extraction of information and trying to like replace parts. And it's just like, it's just a bunch of monkeys under the hood turning cranks.
Yeah, but they got $25 million, so the joke's on us. I mean,
I guess
they raised $25 million, so
yeah.
I'm sure we could, like we should actually get together and like come up with some, really detailed plan like this.
Slide deck for
slide deck and I'm
I don't
sure
care how
we
much
have
money
enough
is in
context.
I don't think I want to go and pitch in front of a bunch of VCs. But if we ever get desperate.
Right. If we get desperate, if the wheels fall off the YouTube and Internet of Things billy cart, then
yeah.
All right.
There might be other problems then.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I don't know.
I tweeted the other day, wheels are falling off the delivery. It's not supply chain. They're falling off the delivery billy cart. Wheels are falling off the delivery billy cart, especially here in Australia, because COVID's not over. According to the COVID crisis is not over, according to the airline industry, and especially the freight airline industry. I tweeted last night the price list, the differential for the different companies for the DHL courier service, which I use, right? And Australia gets hit big time. And I was talking to my DHL rep, and he said, it's because the flights to Australia are so few, even though we run our own planes, and there's extra, and it's just like, it's just so hard to get to Australia now as it used to be. Therefore, we're one of the most expensive places in the world, whereas before it was like equal, right? It didn't, it wasn't quite equal, but there wasn't much difference between the countries, shipping stuff. And now it's like, no, there's a huge difference. So there's an emergency surcharge, which is the COVID thing. And then there's a fuel surcharge on top of that. It's been creeping up every year. And now it's at like 37% of the, 39% of the price of the shipping price. So so I got to pay the shipping price, right? I don't know how I got into shipping, but anyway, what a tangent. PCB. So I got my shipping rate, right, which is quite reasonable for an express courier service. But then you've got the 37% fuel surcharge on top of that. And then you've got the emergency situation charge on top of that yet again. And it's just, oh God, it's pretty horrific.
I think there's a Wendover Productions thing about like how much passenger airlines get used in terms of like actual shipment and like
they that's
buy excess
huge.
capacity.
Yeah.
I was always surprised by that.
Yeah, for those who don't know, like probably half the plane you're flying on from, Sydney to London or something is filled with, widgets.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's filled with commercial freight. So, yeah.
Right. Yep. It's crazy. Yeah.
Well, that's how my meters before I was shipping with DHL. Now I send them express via DHL and they come on their own planes. Yeah, they were going, I would get the flight number of the flight it was coming in on, and it's, Asian Airlines flight, 456 or something. And and you can watch it fly in on the flight, and it's a regular commercial flight, and there's 20 boxes of my multimeters in the cargo hold somewhere.
In the hold,
yeah. So
yep. Maybe that's where my suitcase is too.
Right. Stuck on some conveyor. It's fallen off some conveyor belt somewhere, and it's in a holding pattern. Yep.
I lost a microphone, Dave. It was.
Oh, you lost a mic. Oh, yeah.
It was a Zoom H1, so not like huge.
Oh, okay, but still, they're expensive.
You hate to lose a soldier,
I know. Yeah. Man down. Let's play the last post. Yep.
I lost a microphone. I lost a screen. I lost a custom sign that I built. A blinky sign.
Yep. Yeah, but you get it back. Apparently, they have promised they found it, right?
See. Yeah,
right. Find if it's the right one. You'll end up with a bunch of lingerie or something.
I end up with a bunch of. That's what I was thinking too. Yeah,
right.
Totally.
I don't know. That could be a win. Who knows?
Sure.
Yeah, sure. All right. Anyway, back to PCB AI. Were you going to have
some much to say here other than come on.
Yeah, I know it's bullshit. Like Yep. It's just smart algorithms. It's not AI.
That's right. Yeah.
Same with full self-driving and all that sort of BS. It's just smart algorithms, right? Yep.
Things that were not smart and look like they may have been attempted to be designed by a computer. RS-449. Did you see that one?
Oh, that was hilarious. That was great.
I had never seen this before. I didn't realize that there was an attempt to this, but
I had forgotten about it because it's so hardly used, right? It was an attempted RS-232 replacement back in the 70s, right? Because if you don't know, RS-232 was one of the very early ones, and then computers. It was used on computer data terminal equipment, DTE back then, right?
Yeah.
And DTE and DCE, right? These were the data communications equipment, talk to data terminal equipment. These were all the industry terms and things. And then it was getting too slow. And
so wait, it would be like not talking to a modem, but it'd be talking to like what would it be? What is a data terminal equipment?
Data terminal equipment, because people didn't own computers back in these days. They own terminals, right? Okay. So you would be a data terminal equipment. Yeah. So you would, it's just a dumb terminal. It's just a VT100 dumb terminal. That's like the industry standard dumb terminal back then was the VT100, right? I've had one myself back in the old days. Don't know what ever happened to that. They sell it on.
What did that then plug into though? So like
that plugged into a mainframe time sharing computer. Right, or it'd plug into a modem, which would then go over the phone lines to a
so that's what I was wondering.
Time sharing
computer.
So
it wasn't like you needed a modem in this, or sorry, you wouldn't have a timeshare in your building necessarily. You might be dialing
yes, you would. I was going to say it depends where you're physically located. If you're physically located in the building, yes, you would have a big mainframe in the basement, and then you'd have all the lines run into the the data terminals, right? Okay. If you're in a library or something and they've got like, five data terminals, right? And there's some mainframe in the back that's running all the, catalog system that you search in or whatever. So
okay, so like a DB25 RS-232 was too slow. Like a 9600
it was too slow. It didn't have the features required and all sorts of stuff.
Huh.
Yeah, it was. So they needed all this extra stuff. So what happened is they developed the RS449 standard, and then they just kept adding things. Oh yes, we need this because every manufacturer had their hands in the pie. Oh no, we've got to have a clear to send. We've got to have a new signal. We've got to have a ring indicator. We've got to have a data signal rate select pin. And the other thing was grounds and stuff, because RS232 mixed up signal ground with earth ground and stuff, and stuff like, there were all sorts of, so there were signal integrity things, and there were speed things, and there were feature things, and there were so so this new RS449 standard tried to do it all, and it was actually, it was an industry standard. It was the EIA 449 industry standard, so they did actually get it done, but I don't think it was ever used. Like, it was just
EIA
like
is like some kind of body, like a
that's an industry standard. Yes, they also do PCB footprints and things like. You can get the EIA footprints. You can get the EIA standards for connectors and various things. There's
Wikipedia tells me Electronics Industry Alliance.
Alliance. I thought it was association, but it's Alliance. Yeah, I think. Okay. Huh. Yep. And that's I'm surprised you haven't heard of the EIA. But they're kind of.
I've probably seen it referenced in, I think, the 232, the 422, the 485, that sort of thing. Yep. But that's it, I think.
Anyway, it's just have a look at the pin out. And then they ended up with 2 connectors because they didn't have enough pins on their 37-way D connector. It's hilarious.
Oh, a separate DE9 if the 422 protocol was used. Okay. All right. Huh.
Absolutely hilarious. Yeah, it's great.
Designed by committee to the maximum.
Transmitter signal timing pin, transmitter data pin, signal rate indicator. And then it's got a receive comment.
It's still just talking a terminal for like
it's still a serial terminal. It's still a serial terminal interface, but because it was so widely used by so many different types of equipment, it wasn't just terminals. It was used by instruments and different types of industrial equipment. So everyone wanted their own thing. Everyone wanted their own. Yeah, and no, but RS232 still survives to this day, and it's. You can still get equipment with RS232, and it's still the thing, Yeah. I think RS232, they didn't like the high voltage levels either, because RS232 was like a 12-volt signaling, and all this newfangled 5-volt stuff was coming along, so they wanted a lower voltage signaling and stuff like that, and it's just, it's crazy stuff. But it was all these dead. If you've got another, who can better the RS449 for a dead standard? Can you think of a better dead standard? Anything. It doesn't have to be connectors. It could be any sort of dead standard. Oh God, I've put myself on the spot too. Yep. Yeah. Maybe something will pop into my mind. Visa.
Firewire.
Firewire. Well, Firewire was widely used, but it had issues. So
it's gone now, though. I don't think. I
used to use Firewire to transfer my videos. Sure. It was.
Yeah, but you haven't used it in.
No, I haven't used it in 10 years or something.
Yeah, that was specific to. Was that specific to Apple or something?
No.
Oh, it's IEEE.
Okay. Yep. No, it was on camcorders. That's how I got my stuff off my tape camcorder. I used to film on a tape camcorder and then transfer over Firewire to a Firewire card in my PC.
This says that Firewire is the Apple brand or the Apple version of the implementation, IEEE 1394.
Oh, iLink and 1394. Yeah, but everyone just generically called it Firewire. It was just yep.
Interesting.
Yeah, all cameras back in the day had a 1394.
Yep.
Poured on them, and it was 400 meg because it was groundbreaking, right? It was 400 megabits per second, or 480 or something. It was huge, right? So yep. Even though I was using analog tape, mine was a digital recorder, so it was recording digitally, so I could pull off the information digitally from the tape, you know, and but then there was a whole thing. I think, well, I don't know if it was TI or not, but there was a whole bunch of FireWire ports started dying, and it was like everyone's FireWire, you know, because it was bad ESD protection on the FireWire chips, and they were just frying everywhere. So everyone's FireWire chips were dying, and it was not good. So, yep. Anyway, that's basically replaced by the USBs these days.
Yeah. So I had a reference to that. I've been listening to Tony Fadell's book. So the guy that was part of the iPod, iPhone, and then Nest.
Yep.
He's got a book out called Build that a friend recommended to me, and I've been enjoying. It's, you know, it's kind of like what he would be counseling startups to do and stuff like that, but basically building up physical products. So pretty good.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't realize he was involved. One of the things that he worked on, so he had basically he had said that whatever he was working on led to USB, and I didn't realize the initial. I'm not saying I agree with it. I just didn't realize that there was, you know, where it came from initially. I didn't know where USB came from.
And
I'm looking right now. I should have looked sooner than this, but yeah, I forget what the product was. It was like a product from Sony, maybe, or something like that. But it was the beginning of USB. But
I don't recall.
USB was pretty janky at the beginning, right? I mean, like people.
Oh yeah, it was. You know.
Yeah, it was like
Yep. It was only 10 megabits per second or something, and no, one was USB 1. Was it 1 meg? No, it started out at 10, didn't it? Oh God, come on! I can't believe I don't know my USB data rates. Yep. No, it was USB 1.0 was 1.5 megabits per second. I was right. And then USB 1.1 is 12 megabits per second. Then USB 2, then it got up to FireWire type speeds. Although FireWire still had benefits, 1394, sorry. Still had benefits in terms of data synchronization and throughput, whereas USB is like USB is like a multi-drop standard, and it's not as good for, you know, high speed transfer as 1394 was.
Yeah.
Even though it was 480 megabits per second, it still technically wasn't as good, I don't think. But yeah, now I've got USB 3.1, 10 gigabits per second. Wank,
that's crazy.
You know. Yeah.
Well, it's just, I mean, just like how standardized it actually is now. It's
it's crazy. You know, you can get monitor output. You know, you can get a monitor that plugs into USB. See, you know, like a full 4K, 8K monitor or something. It's just nuts. The data rates in those are incredible.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Unbelievable. So, when I was a boy, yep.
Mm-hmm. a lot more of the DB37s.
Yep. Oh well, no, it was the battle of DB9 versus DB25. You know, I'm designing a product. Should my RS-232 be the full? Should we go the full Monty with the 25 pin jobby, or should we go with the 9, the sexier, much sexier, more modern 9-pin jobby?
Right, so modern.
Yeah. Would you still design in an RS-232 into something these days?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I still would if I was designing some industrial bit of thing, you know.
Yeah, I mean the 12 volts is nice for industrial. I mean, if you got it already, that's good. But
there's a lot of stuff now that, of course, is effectively, well, RS-232 is like the pinout and the signal standard, right? It's the signal level standard. But, you know, people throw the term around generically. Oh, yeah, it's got an RS-232 interface, but there's no RS-232 signal level chip in there. It's just 5-volt TTL interface, right? You know, everyone's got one of those little USB, you know, serial dongles, right? You know, so the baud rates are all there, the signaling's all there. They just don't run it through the RS-232 standard, you know, 12-volt signaling chip.
Right, and 12-volt, and pop goes the weasel.
Right. Yep. Yeah. So it's almost taken over from that. It's almost, you know, if you open up a lot of products, it's got a serial interface, especially with microcontrollers, right? Because microcontrollers, you know, they'll all have like this little serial interface thing, right? So design, you know, little, you know, 5-pin single in line thing that, you know, so it's all still there, you know, the baud rates stuff is all still there, but it's, you know, gone are the day. Well, you know, it's not often you'd probably put in like a 12-volt signal in RS-232 unless you've got a bit of industrial equipment or something. Then you probably would.
RS-45 plays nice too. So
Yeah, RS422, RS485. I've used those. Yep, they're pretty groovy. So, because if you don't know the difference, RS232 is single-ended, whereas RS485 is a differential signaling system. So you can go over much longer runs and you don't get the signal integrity problems you get with RS232 being a single-ended system. So, yep. Differential. Yep. Fancy pantsy. Modern stuff.
Distance. Yep.
Like they use on those Ethernet thingies. Yep. Which is getting crazy these days, like the data rates you can get over 100 meters of, 100 meters of twisted pair. And, it's just nuts. Yep.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Unbelievable. And bundled twisted pair. They're all next to each other, for goodness sake. They're all bundled inside a bloody, Yep. It's crazy. 8 pairs in there. Unbelievable. Anyway, when I was a boy. What else we got?
Let's see what else. Oh, well, things that will not go super fast over that distance, but pretty fast. The Raspberry Pi Pico W is now out. So Wi-Fi. I think I saw Jeff Geerling did a small speed test and got 5 megabits to his Wi-Fi. So,
right. Yep.
What's your take on the Pico RP2040? I don't know how much you know about the old platform versus the new one.
No, I have no idea about the old platform versus the new one. I know of the Raspberry Pi Pico form factor, right? But because it uses the new Raspberry Pi Micro. What is it, the 4040 or something? What is it? No, the RP2040.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah, RP2040 microcontroller. So it's not like a regular Raspberry Pi, which uses the ARM, thingamabob.
Yeah, the Broadcom, whatever the hell it is.
Broadcom ARM, whatever
ARM
the latest.
7.
Yeah, the latest,
Yep.
8 core bloody thing. Yep. So, but no, it is still an ARM, right? The RP2040 is still an ARM.
That's right. It's a dual Cortex M0 Plus. We had the Raspberry Pi embedded team on here back in the day when that came out. And now it has a Infineon 43439 Wi-Fi chip on it. And that's basically, that upped it by $2, but now it's a internet connected RP2040.
Yep.
But the cool thing, I mean, the RP2040 is, it's pretty beefy for what it is, for the cost it is well.
Yeah.
And it's available, so that's got its own bit of amazingness these days. Yeah.
Can I buy it? Yes, no. Okay, right, I'm using it.
That's right. Yeah. And so it's also got the custom fabric, the PIO. I forget what it stands for, but it's basically like
the
programmable IO, I guess.
Yep. You can reroute things, kind of. Yep.
Yeah, it's like you can write assembly code for custom block interfacing. So if you wanted to do kind of like on the PRUs on the BeagleBone Blacks and equivalent, basically tiny processors that are just sitting there kind of processing IO, which is pretty cool.
Oh, okay. So that's different. Does it have the pin swapping as well? Does it have the routability?
No, I don't believe so.
It doesn't have the routability.
Yeah, so it's not like a true FPGA. It's more like I think it's like a configurable logic machine that's on these IO pins.
Yeah, so if you want to do some bit shifting or something like that, right? You can.
That's right. Yep.
Right.
Yep. Well, say you wanted to implement the RS232, I bet you could have,
Right. Yes. Yeah. You could that would decode your board serial interface. And,
I think that kind of idea. Yep. Right.
Right. Okay. Ha! I just got a name for a product, the Board Ape, but it's board as in board rate.
Oh, Board Ape. Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You'd sell it just based on the
you can sell it just based on the memes. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, the meme-based economy.
Yeah. Okay, but board rate. So.
Yep.
Meme-based economy. That's it. Meme and availability.
That's right. Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
This new one comes in the same form factor, it seems.
Yep, but
it's got wireless on board, and I mean, right now it's MicroPython based first and foremost, so you're going to be writing like that. But
hang on, these little configurable logic blocky thing, no, they're not. They're little micros. You're saying they're little. They can execute code.
They're little logic elements. I would say they are configurable through code.
But they can execute sequential code.
Yeah, I believe so.
Right. Okay. Got it.
I think they're like little logic machine, little like ALU, not ALUs, little state machines, basically.
Right. Okay. And you program those with assembly, so this has its own little languagey kind of thing, does it?
Yeah,
It's got its own little architecture
Yep.
and thing. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Actually, I might have to get one of those and just have a fiddle around with it, see if I can implement.
I mean, they're so cheap. For example, at the trade show at Embedded World, like you walk by the Raspberry Pi booth and they just had people handing them out.
Yeah, handing them out.
Like a little handout, like on it, stuck to a card. So that's really something.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, when I was a boy, you paid $1,000 for a dev kit like that.
Exactly. I know. Yeah, like that's bonkers, especially for like what's in there too. So I don't know. It's it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. So if you went to the trade show back in the day, you go up to the booth. May I touch the development board? Business card, please, sir. And you may now proceed
fingerprints
to. You may now proceed to touch the. To touch the development board.
Blood sample.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh boy. Says the guy who worked on a $4,000 development board.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure the Altium folks, I'm sure the sales folks were stopping people from just grabbing at the new hardware.
No, we let them go. They can do anything you want. Try and break it. Have some fun. Press buttons. Fiddle with the board.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. But I think it'd be interesting to try it out and see what you can do with it. And there's people that are doing interesting things with it.
See, I'm like, because I'm not interested from the Raspberry Pi point of view. Like that doesn't interest me at all. Like there's so many different bloody development boards these days. It just doesn't really interest me. But
you mean the normal Linux side of things, or like
the normal Linux and microcontroller?
Well, there's no Linux on this. It's just you can write C code.
It's just a micro, but there's so many bloody micro. Like it's just another micro to me. It's like meh. So what, right? I've got 100 to choose from. It doesn't do anything.
Well, this does have the thing where it's available. So there is that novel aspect.
But I do like the fact that how many little engines does it have? How many little I/O engines does it have?
Dave, I'm not actually working for them, so I don't actually know these things.
Well,
but
come on.
We could see if we can.
You're in the space.
Get it out of here. I should probably remember it from when they were on the show. But
I imagine there's like at least 2, maybe 4 of them. I mean, it wouldn't be on every pin. That'd be chewing up a chunk of silicon.
8 programmable I/O state machines for custom peripheral support. I was right. It's a state machine. All right, go Chris.
Right. There you go. Right. Yeah, so you can do your bit shifting, so you can do parallel. Oh, can you join them? Is there any cross connection between them? Can you synchronize them and stuff?
I think there is. Yeah, I think they're I think it's like a DMAs into the memory and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. Right.
That it's some of the demos that are out there, it's like people are using it to drive VGA, like they're driving VGA with outputs, just bit flipping.
Right.
Which is that's fun.
Yep. Cool. Yeah, that's something that that's something that interests me, not just the micros side of things. Yep. Mm. All right.
Well, I can't wait to see your video on it, Dave. That's good. Good stuff.
Geez, pressure's on now.
Put you in contact. I mean, if you want, we do know the folks, so you can just kind of do a video with them or something. So I'll put you in contact.
No, I just want to play.
I know
board and play.
All right. Well, I'm sure you can do that too.
Yeah, I'll just get one. What do they cost? $10 or something?
$4. No, they're $4.
Oh, well, sure, they're $10 here in Australia.
Well, yeah,
by the time it gets here with all the shipping we talked about,
$4, $10 dues.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So there's Wi-Fi now. That's cool. Cool mix up. We'll see what's shaking things up and see what that does. One person that I know did bring up to me well, Espressif is kind of the same cost. So it's not like this is there's never been anything like it, right?
No,
this is
no, exactly.
But it's still interesting. It's still available, accessible. So yeah, and Raspberry Pi has good support, good documentation. So
what's their because this is what's their compiler ecosystem like? Do you use some open source one, or have they got their own secret source for this?
Well, the compiler is going to be ARM based, but
yeah, it's going to be ARM based. But do they have their own development environment, their own,
Well, so like MicroPython pops up, like you can basically like so like when you have a MicroPython thing, usually it's a mass storage drive.
Yeah.
And it's literally like a main.py, and then you just like hit save, and it's got a compiler on board if you're running MicroPython.
Yeah, but that's not going to do the little state machine blockies, right?
Yeah, that part I'm not sure about.
Yeah, I reckon they'd have to have their own software for that, I would presume, because that's their own custom thing.
Mm-hmm. They have a C++ SDK, it's probably in there. So I would assume that. I'm sure that we'll hear.
I would be very impressed if they have a visual editor for the state machine.
For the state machine.
Rather than write code, you could actually have like, I'm going to drag in, I need a flip-flop here. I need a 8-bit register here, drag it in,
I see. So that's kind of like how PSOC does it. They have like visual configuration of their custom blocks.
Have a visual thing. Yeah, that's ST, is it? No.
No, that's Cypress, now Infineon.
Cypress, that's right.
Yeah. They're now part of Infineon. They're actually the people who make the Wi-Fi on this board. So and they have some stuff that does that sort of thing. Yep. Oh, here we go. So
did you see the thing I tweeted yesterday? The Infineon part, which somebody spotted it in their incoming inspection. It was branded Infineon. Is supposed to be Infineon, but it was not ON but DN. So they went, looks a bit sus. I don't think I've got a genuine part here. It's like,
oh my, yeah, that could be problematic.
Yep. Dead giveaway if you can't get the spelling right on your chip, It's like you might have been duped on the grey market. Maybe.
That's good they did. I mean, that's a reason to do incoming inspection.
Incoming inspection, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I did see a different thread about what was it? I forget where I saw it. It must have just been Twitter or something like that. But they were talking about like a pin and code compatible STM32 F1XX part, right? And so there was Giga devices we've talked about on the show before. There's similar. They have an STM32 clone, F1XX, whatever. And someone brought up the point again. I think it was on Twitter. But at a certain point, like if it's an unlicensed chip, even if it's code and pin compatible, it's like, oh, that's just a counterfeit. Like, at a certain point, it just crosses that threshold, and it's like, it's just like that's just a fake part, but it just happens to work, and maybe it's acceptable to some people, but to others, not so much.
No, if you've just got like a one of those singing greeting cards or something, like you don't care where the chip comes from, it's like
if it works, it works.
It works
as cheap as possible.
Exactly. Yep. But otherwise, nah. I can't remember what the actual Infineon part was though that I did the photo of. But some things matter, some things don't.
Yeah, I was talking to a large distributor recently and doing a little bit of a feedback session for them, and they were asking like my opinion about this large distributor and just generally like how my perception of the industry is going. And I said, one of the things that is the most impactful piece of the silicon shortage, which we talked about already on the show a little bit, is I'm just willing to try more things. Like I wouldn't go and try a Giga Devices part if an STM32 part was there and relatively available, right? Like when I had options, and because I have resources and because I'm usually not doing super, super high volume, it's not worth it to me. And now I've been forced into this position where it is
where it is worth it.
I have to do something, and I have to try something. And so I'm just, my mindset has shifted. I'm going to LCSC sooner. I'm willing to try out.
Yes, you're willing to try that little Asian micro you've never heard of before.
Yeah, I've just never tried it, and it's worth the investment, maybe not from a cost perspective, but just a sourcing perspective. It's like, I don't have any strong feelings about any of these things, like all of the brand loyalty that chip companies think that they're building. It's like, look, if I can't buy your parts, I can't be loyal to you.
Exactly.
It's just there is no loyalty there. So I'm sure we're going to get back to some point, but I think the net result, at least for me, is I'm still going to be willing to try it. It probably will be beyond my hassle factor once again. I'll probably be like, it's not worth it. But getting past that threshold, like that's a big one, I think. Like that's detrimental to large chip brands. And as as there's more consolidation in the industry as well, and there are fewer of those large chip brands, maybe I don't care about a TI switcher anymore because I wasn't able to buy one for 3 years.
Yeah, well, things like switches are, like you just want a power rail, right? Does the thing switch? Is it reasonably efficient? It's like,
I guess so. But I still would go to a TI part prior to the bubblegum tap shoes era. Yeah. I would have gone there, and now I don't care, and now I just have the pile of buck converters from who knows who, I don't know who it is anymore. So, okay, fine. But I've proven it works. And so now it comes down to like, can I continue to get it, this part number or something like it? Right. And it's reliable enough. Yeah. Okay. Maybe I'm a little bit more involved in the incoming inspection process, or maybe I'm going to buy a bigger chunk of parts at the time, but that might just be worth it.
Yep. That's when the compatible footprint thing comes in. You want as much choice as humanly possible.
Totally. Yep.
And then one thing you're going to have, one thing you're not going to be able to get, though, is like real precision analog stuff, right? You still really don't have a choice in that department, right? Oh, yeah. If you need like ultra low noise, ultra low offset, right? You're not going to find that on LCSC. Right.
Well, that's the thing. No, you might though. Like that's the thing. You're gonna have to dig a little bit more, and you have to have a tougher.
Oh, there's not on the really industry leading parts.
Yeah, but
you're probably not going to find an Asian source for it.
I'm not building test equipment anymore, Dave. Like I just don't. I don't need it.
I'm saying there are edges of the industry where you simply don't have a choice, right?
Yeah, that probably is one of them. I would think, super specialized microcontrollers as well. Like there are, but if you're in the Jelly Bean or Jelly Bean adjacent, then you're, I'm going to be more likely to step out on TI.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, something as simple as my microcurrent, right? And actually designing a new microcurrent, there's not much choice.
That actually that would be a great video. That would be go to LCSC, do a comparison, see the best you can do. That would actually be.
I've done it. There's nothing.
You have? Oh,
right.
Oh, interesting.
You can't do it. Right.
Okay.
This is why I brought it up. Right. Maybe I can search harder. Right. But it's.
I was going to say you should try harder. Yeah.
But yes, it ain't easy. Is what I'm saying. All right. And often it will be impossible. It'll be physically impossible. No, sorry, but LT make the world's, lowest drift voltage reference or something, right? There's just nothing you can do about it, right? You are not going to be able to get any
you could buy
equivalent part.
From ADI instead.
Right.
Wah, wah, wah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Last dregs.
Yeah. What else we got on here? CT
I did
scanner?
like the Curious Mark video. That was good. Sorry, the Keysight. It's on Keysight Labs website.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The YouTube channel. Yeah. They did a tour of Curious Mark. Daniel went there and yeah. Very cool if you're into your vintage computers. Yep. It's just nuts.
Definitely.
Yep. Your IBM 360s, which will definitely be using some DCE and DTE signaling.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yep. Oh boy, fantastic. What else?
Update on former guest Zach Barth of Zachtronics. They made the Shenzhen IO and other video games that were like about electronics manufacturing, which was like super cool and super weird.
Yeah, super weird. Yeah.
Yeah, they're shutting down the company. So Zachtronics is no more.
Okay.
Yeah, but they're shutting it down because they want to shut it down. So like
I didn't know it was like a full-time company.
Oh
yeah. Like, I didn't know it was
these are
full-time thing for him. These games, right? It was just games, right?
Games is a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Well, I have to get with the times.
But but that's the thing. Like I don't play them. You don't play them. Like but like I bet a bunch of our listeners do. So yeah.
Oh, I have had a play of it. I have had a play of Shenzhen IO, and it was like, it's kind of weird. I can see how you can get hooked in on that sort of stuff.
I was terrible at it. Oh
Oh
man.
yeah, no, I'm not saying I was any good.
question my abilities as an engineer after playing,
Yeah,
but like,
exactly. Yep.
eh,
Yep.
it's not all puzzles, folks. Sometimes it's just about spreadsheets.
Well, I was doing this with Sagan, right? Sagan's got a
Yeah.
Turin Tumble. It's called. If you
What's
if you
that?
have a look up this name, it's a Turin, of course, Alan Turing, right? It's one of these marble platformy things. These are huge in schools, right? Turin Tumble game.
Okay.
Have you got it? I can send you a link.
I'll look it up.
You search Turin
So
Tumble. It's one of these upright platform things with little pegs, right? And you put in these little things, and then you drop marbles from the top, and it's got levers, and the marbles go through. Well, the thing about
that's
this is that
cool.
you can configure all of the little levers and stuff to make like logic gates and logic functions and make things happen, right? And I thought, I'm a bit of a digital logic aficionado, right? I like to know I know my Carnot maps, right?
Sure.
Right. And I'd like to think that, oh yeah, I'm going to show. No, Sagan was showing me up. How to do like, and I'm trying to figure out how to do these logic gates
What the hell are these kids
using
doing these days?
these things
Yeah.
going, and here's a flip flop, how to implement that. Oh my god! And some of them just got so complicated. I was like,
so they're doing like adders. They're making like adders and
yeah, there's adders and stuff, right? Yeah, you can make add-in machines and stuff like that, just using these little plastic levers that you drop marbles through, right?
Huh.
And
the idea is the kids can move the levers to different spots to do different functions,
yes,
right?
to do different, to configure different logic functions and stuff, right? And I thought, oh yeah, I'm gonna nail this, right? and no, I was like, Sagan was going through them, and he's going, oh, I've got up to number 30, I'm up to number 30. And I'm stuck. So I come in, oh yeah, I can fix this. And I'm going, I have no idea how to, like, my mind was too
good. This is a nice
hardwired.
preview for like what all of the puzzles and things that I won't be able to help my daughter with.
Yep. Yeah, I think I was too knowledgeable. My mind was just like stuck.
Too knowledgeable.
Stuck in a certain way of
this
thinking.
This is new math, Dave. You're in old math.
This is new math. Yeah, this is new digital logic, right? And I was just stuck in a certain mode of thinking, and I I can understand the simple stuff, but when it got more complex, I went, I suck at this. Like, I'm gonna have to rewire my brain to try and figure it out. Like, yes, I would know how to do an adder with, logic gates, right? It's like it's bread and butter stuff. But
I worry about this. Like, I thought about getting like myself a Kiwi kit, KiwiCo kit,
right.
or like the new Mark Rober thingy or whatever. Like all these kits, and I wonder about that too. If I was just gonna get like chuck this laser cut thing against the wall in frustration. I'm too old for this crap.
Anyway, there you go. I can recommend the Turin Tumble to
that's cool. I mean, that's
to frustrate your adult mind. Yeah, and it's got like all these, and I think it's like a huge pamphlet thing that's done in the style of anime. I think, or it's done in
looks like a comic book.
Yeah. So it's like a comic book thing, and maybe that's how they're presenting these, and they're wording these, do it this way, and like I just couldn't, like, my mind just couldn't wrap the head around, just the way that they were asking you to do it, and like it's just. Yeah. It's just really, it's really tough, but they're really, they're really interesting things, and some of them get quite advanced. You can do these advanced functions with these just little plastic flippy gate things. It's great.
I do wonder about like then in the other direction. So like maybe not the Turing Tumble. Like, I think this is really cool. I'm gonna look at this for my nephews, I think, too.
Yeah.
Because like they're about Sagan's age.
Hang on, retired product. Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh, maybe that's just on my local supplier's website.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm on
no.
HarperStory.com. Turing Tumble looks like it's still around. So.
Oh, it's even got its own Wikipedia page. Is a demonstration of logic gates via mechanical computer. Yes. This follows because the game is P complete. There you go, for you P complete aficionados.
So then, like, okay, so maybe not this one, but like the Zach stuff, like back calculating it, like it seems like it's very good for like reverse engineering and stuff like that. And what I'm really trying to do is convince myself that I'm not a terrible engineer and that I can't do it. But I do wonder, is it like, could you take that and then be like, oh, well, now I know this and this about programming or electronics design or whatever. And I'm sure there's got to be a bunch of stuff that actually is. I'm curious about, like these kind of things as learning tools as well, right? So like, could you sit a bright young man or woman in front of Zachtronics thing and like teach them electronics through that method. I don't know.
Well, you teach them an aspect of electronics.
Yes, yeah. Maybe that's the right way to think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, same as this teaches you an aspect of how computers work. Like because you're building an add-in machine. You're building a multiplier, and right. Yep.
Yeah, I guess the analog version of this is there's a lot more lead solder.
Yeah, that's the way. Cool, sniff those. Yep.
Yeah, sniff the fumes.
Sniff the fumes. Yeah.
Do a little seance with some flux fumes.
That's the
way. Obviously, I've sniffed far too many of in my day, so my brain is broken. So.
All right.
Well, that is cool, man. Thanks for telling us about that.
No worries.
You should.
All right.
Get a referral thing. I bet that people are out there buying these things. Right?
Turing Tumble. Yeah, it'd be cool for a curious kid, who. Yep. But they're probably either going to get it or they don't. I think it's one of those, like Sagan got it and he was, well advanced of me, and I just didn't. I could get the simple stuff, but I just didn't get the more complicated stuff. I just, my mind just broke down and gave up. Yeah. Just gave up.
Yeah.
It's like,
and then at the end of the day, what you do is you go to the computer store and you buy the computer already built.
Right. Or I just go build it out of 7.4 series gates and I'm fine.
Bingo.
Yeah. Right. Anyway. Yep. Very cool. All right. Well, that's our amp hour.
Yeah, definitely. All right, man. Catch you next time.
Hey, that's mine.
Well, no, that's your thing.
No, you were supposed to invent your own outro.
Yeah. Give me a second. Don't grab the wrong end of the soldering iron.
Okay. Well, that's slightly more better than the AVE one.
That's right.
Catch you next time.